Now, I remember right around this time, it's 2021, you said you were trying to end the beef between Jim Jones and MaxB.
Yeah.
Is that squashed?
I put it in the air. It's up to Jim and Max. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Max is locked up, man.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, when I speak to Max, Max tell me he got more shit to worry about. When I speak to Jim, you know what I'm saying, Jim is on his own time. So, I mean, they both grown men.
Yeah, but, I mean, Max is locked up.
In the best position they could be. Even with the dude that was locked up and shit like that, yeah. In the beginning, I took advantage of only thing I knew because that's what I learned from the leader that I had.
Who was locked up?
I don't say, you know who's locked up, but we ain't gonna say that. You did one of the artists I had and shit like that. In the beginning, it was like that because I was taught from, you only know what you taught, you dig? So naturally moving forward in this game is to be sold, not told. I was blinding people with the money, but I paid people more than they was worth and shit like that, you dig? But on the flip side, I took advantage of the business. That was in the very beginning. And after that experience, I never ever took advantage of nobody else in my life when it came to doing business with music. Even with that, I relinquished the ownership of his publishing, you heard?
Wow.
Because I could have still owned his publishing right now if I wanted to and shit like that. But in my heart, I knew that's not the right. That's weak. That's weak nigga shit. You heard? Like that's not how you. You know what I mean, and moving forward, like, and I've never like ex peso and shit like that. Like, I'm very delicate when I deal with artists or get in business with artists and shit like that because I know how crazy it is with the game. I never want to feel like these artists think that I'm trying to take advantage of them because I'm not. That's not what we're here for. We're here to do business together and shit like that. Like, I want to teach you some shit that they ain't teach me. So you could probably be more successful than I ever would be because you got the knowledge that I didn't have.
MaxB coming home. Where we at with that? Are you able to get past that?
No. Now we get past now. We can get past that now. You want to get past it? Or you want to dive more into it? Or you want me to tweak it?
I want you to pass it at some point.
You want me to crash out?
I definitely don't want you to crash out because I don't want to crash out. Now, what I want for myself, I want for my brother.
I appreciate it.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because there's too much money out here, there's too much life out here, and I like to do the things that I like to do. Ain't nothing feel better than living right now.
You're right.
Being alive and getting money and fucking waking up.
No better feeling. There's no better feeling ever in the world.
Huh?
It's no better feeling.
Man, everything good, man. I want to congratulate you, man, on your 1 million views in one day. And first of all, you got on Talk with Flea. That's just phenomenal in itself. You know what I mean? But I want to congratulate y'all, whatever y'all got planned and doing in the future or whatever. But 1 million views in one day is crazy. So
Nah, man.
Congratulations, man.
Nah, absolutely, man. I appreciate it. And to be honest with you, you know, just clearing the air, you know, for fans that's older fans and know all of us and know a little bit of history about what used to go on in the past, which I don't really bring up. Even like when I did the interview with Max, I'm not going to bring up no old problems he had. I'm not saying anything to get him in any new problems. I'm not doing anything to get him back sent to the penitentiary or jail or whatever the case may be. Because some people like, Cam, you ain't asked this, or Cam, you ain't asked that. I mean, he was home 3-4 days and did an interview with me to where he didn't have to. You know, even though that's my brother, I know we grew up together and all that shit, but you know that.
Nah. No, MaxB. What's up?
When you talk about dead people and I'm talking about people locked up, I say some shit, I want to be able to say it to you.
Harlem has always been known for creating legends, but not every story is about success and fame. Some stories are about people who were taken advantage of, turned on, and left behind. The story of MaxB and Jim Jones fits that side of Harlem history. They were not just artists on the same label. At one point, they were close, almost like family. Together, they looked unstoppable. MaxB was the mind behind the melodies, the hooks, and the sound that helped push Jim Jones to the top. Still, when the spotlight came on, only one name got the credit. That raises a hard question. What happens when trust is used against you and a close friend becomes the person who hurts you the most? This story follows a writer who slowly faded into the background, a friendship that broke apart in a way that shook New York streets. It moves from prison cells to mixtape wars, from street corners to major industry deals. MaxB's life became a mix of talent, broken trust, and non-stop hunger to make it out. Before the violence, before the public fallouts, there was real connection. There was music, shared goals, and loyalty. Once that bond cracked, Everything that followed was shaped by it. The real question is not only what went wrong, but how far someone will go when they feel robbed of what they built. MaxB was born Charlie Wingate, and his life started far from easy. He grew up in Harlem's Abraham Lincoln housing projects, a place where survival came before comfort. His mother struggled with addiction and eventually went to prison, leaving him to be raised by his grandmother. The streets did not slow down for him. They demanded strength and awareness early on. Music became his escape. Singing in a Harlem Boys choir gave him peace and helped shape his sound. While other kids were learning street life, Max was learning how to build songs. Music was not just something he enjoyed, it was protection, expression, and hope rolled into one. Still, the streets never fully let go. In 1997, Max was arrested on a robbery charge and sentenced to 8 years in prison. Those years were spent watching life continue without him. Ideas stacked up in his head while anger grew quietly. When he finally came home, the name Charlie Wingate was left behind. He stepped out as MaxB, carrying a new identity and an even bigger drive. Prison did not destroy him, it shaped him. Those years behind bars became a time of learning and planning. He thought about music constantly, breaking down beats and hooks in his mind. When he was released in 2005, he renamed himself MaxB, a name inspired by artists he admired growing up. He carried their influence, but his hunger was his own. Harlem had changed by the time he returned. The Diplomats movement, with Jim Jones at the center, had control of the local scene. If you wanted attention, you needed access to that circle. Max didn't beg for it. He had something rare, and people noticed. Cameron saw his talent and connected him back with Jim Jones. Soon after, Max signed to Bird Gang Records and stepped back into the spotlight. In 2006, he released his first mixtape, $1 Million Baby. It hit the streets hard without radio support or major backing. The sound was fresh, raw, and impossible to ignore. Max wasn't just back, he was shifting the sound of Harlem. As time passed, it became clear that Max was more than just another artist on the roster. His hooks turned songs into anthems. His voice brought life to tracks. Jim Jones gained fame and money, but Max's creativity sat underneath many of those hits. The public didn't see it, but the streets knew. Stack Bundles joined the team, and for a moment, Bird Gang looked unbeatable. Max lifted everyone around him. Still, cracks began to show. Recognition did not match effort. As money came in, Max's role started to feel smaller. The sound he helped create slowly became someone else's brand. Even then, Max stayed focused. He believed influence mattered more than credit. His wave spread quietly, but tension was growing. Then everything changed. In 2006, Max's ex-girlfriend, Gina Conway, brought him an idea involving a wealthy man named Alan Pluden. The plan was a robbery that was supposed to be quick. Max was accused of working with Gina and his stepbrother, Kelvin Leum. Things went wrong fast. They arrived late, people were inside the house, and panic took over. Kelvin fired a shot that killed David Taylor. What started as a robbery became a murder case. Gina later testified against Max, claiming he planned it all. Max was charged with felony murder and faced a huge bail. His music couldn't protect him now. Sitting in jail, he realized this was no longer about the streets. It was about freedom. While all this happened, Jim Jones watched from the outside. Tension grew, trust faded. Max's future, his music, and his life were on the line. One situation had set the stage for a conflict that would reshape Harlem's rap history forever. While MaxB was fighting for his life inside a jail cell, Jim Jones was moving freely in the public eye. In 2006, Jim released We Fly High, Bellin, and it became unavoidable. It played on the radio non-stop, filled clubs, and ran heavy on TV. The song turned Jim into a mainstream star almost overnight. From behind bars, Max watched it all unfold, knowing that much of the song's magic came from him. He believed he had written the hooks and shaped the melodies that made the track work, yet his name was nowhere in the credits. The sound he helped create was flying high, but he was locked away with no recognition. Then Jim made a promise that changed everything. He told Max he could help him get out of jail, but it came with conditions. Max would have to give up his publishing rights and agree to a long album deal that handed control of his music over completely. With a serious case hanging over his head and no clear path to freedom, Max felt cornered. He signed the deal, trading ownership of his art for a chance to breathe free air again. When he stepped out, the reality hit hard. The music he poured himself into no longer belonged to him. Max had gone in as the hidden engine behind Jim's success and came out erased from the picture. Songs he helped build were now someone else's property. The streets that once felt his presence barely mentioned his name. It wasn't just personal hurt. It was his career being wiped away. Max wasn't willing to accept that quietly. Instead of disappearing, he regrouped. He teamed up with French Montana, another Harlem rapper who also had tension with Jim Jones. Together, they created the Cokewave movement. They didn't rely on labels or radio. They released music straight to the streets, dropping mixtapes online for free. Harlem responded immediately. Max's sound spread faster than before, even without industry backing. His voice felt like it was everywhere at once, reminding people he was still very much alive in the culture. Max made it clear what he wanted. He wanted his respect back, and he wanted the truth exposed. He used diss tracks as his weapon. Songs aimed at Jim Jones and members of Dipset painted them as performers who leaned on Max's creativity to shine. Each release added fuel to the fire. The most shocking moment came when Max claimed he had been involved with Jim's girlfriend. That single track sent the streets into chaos. Max's name grew louder, and Jim's image took a hit. What started in music didn't stay there. Tension spilled into real life. There were stories of car crashes, near run-ins, and fights at clubs that got so heated, police dogs had to step in. The man who had once been pushed aside was now embarrassing one of Harlem's biggest figures. Max showed that power wasn't only about money or fame. It was about influence and fear. While Max was winning attention in the streets, the law was closing in. In 2009, he stood trial for the case tied to the robbery that ended in a man's death. Prosecutors argued he planned the crime, even though he didn't pull the trigger. His defense said the main witness, his ex-girlfriend, had her own reasons for pointing the finger at him. The courtroom battle was intense, but the outcome was harsh. Max was found guilty on most charges, including felony murder. That same year, he was sentenced to 75 years in prison. He wouldn't even be considered for parole until decades later. Just like that, his movement was frozen. His body was locked away, and it seemed like his music would fade with him. Outside, Jim Jones continued benefiting from music Max had helped shape. Streams and sales kept flowing, a constant reminder of what Max had lost. Still, the story didn't fully end there. In 2010, Max regained his publishing rights, a small but meaningful win. From prison, he kept releasing music, and his influence refused to die. Artists across the industry began pulling from his melodic style. Big names openly credited him as inspiration. Even while locked up, his sound shaped modern hip-hop. Hooks became more emotional, melodies more central, and the wave lived on through others. Max's story became a warning about trust in the music business. Even Jim Jones later admitted Max had the talent to be bigger than many stars if his life had gone differently. Beyond fame, Max left a cultural stamp. He showed that real impact isn't always measured by awards or charts. Today, MaxB speaks differently. Prison changed him. He became a husband and a father, focused on peace and growth. The anger that once fueled him has softened. While some old relationships remain broken, his influence never disappeared. His release date represents more than freedom. It signals the return of a sound that helped shape an era. The wave never stopped, it only waited.